Hi, thank you for clicking on my video. My name is Beth Ann of Beth Ann Stamps. And in this week's video, we are going to be making a couple of cards with the Well Done stamp set and builder punch. This set came out last year. It continued on into the annual catalog this year, and I think it is such a fun set. So let's go ahead and get started. The first card we're going to make is what I call a matchbook card. So the card base is flat and then the interactive part of the card resembles a matchbook. Okay, let me bring in my kit. So these are Coastal Cabana. So my base is the standard size card at 5.5 by 4.25. And remember, all of these dimensions will be in the coordinating blog linked below, or just go to bethannstamps.com and you will find it there. Then we have a piece of designer series paper, pattern paper that is cut smaller. It's that 5.25, I believe, by 4. So we're going to glue this down. This is a piece of retired designer paper, pattern paper. It came out with the annual catalog as a preview with the waves. I just love this ocean paper, and I got a lot of it, so I keep bringing it out and using it. And if you are a paper crafter, you have a lot of pattern paper in your stash. Okay, let's work on the matchbook. The matchbook is cut 8.5 by 3.25. And then I scored this. I lined it up in my scoring board and I scored it at 3.5. And then I flipped it over for the second score at 3.25. So the first thing I'm going to do, so that's there. I want to stamp my papers. I have 2 papers here that are exactly the same. They are 3 by 3.25. So you want to make sure when you're getting ready to stamp those that they're laying the right way on your paper, so you have them in the right direction. You should have that little edge around them. So I'm going to do the inside of the card first and get that done. And the colors I'm stamping with today are Night of Navy, Granny Apple Green, and Calypso Coral. So on the inside of this, we're going to use the tall grass and the short grass. So I have both of those. And these are going to be stamped in Granny Apple Green. There's one. Oh, this one's a little bit upside down. So just put those. And then I'm going to do some of the bubbles, but I'm going to stamp those off. I just want a hint of those bubbles behind my sentiment. So I'm going to stamp it off. Okay. So I'm going to close that one for now. Wipe that off. Or I'll drop a piece of paper in it, of course, and make a mess. So on the inside, I'm going to put "You're kind of a big deal." And I'm going to do that in Night of Navy. Just going to test it. I love the fonts on this set. Bring that up close so you can see them and how they stamp. So you can see that. All right, so that's the inside. Let me put this on the inside. All right, so now let's do the outside. Again, I'm going to line this up here just to double check that I have it oriented this right way. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a blending brush, and I am going to grab my Granny Apple Green. Now, when I do this one, I just want it to be a very, very light background. So I'm going to hold my brush back here because I don't want a lot of pressure on that, because I want to keep it light. I just want that hint of color. So that's enough there. Now this time I'm going to also do some bubbles, but this time I'm going to leave them in full strength so that they stand out on that background. And you just put them randomly however you want. Okay. Now I'm going to bring in Calypso Coral. And I thought I had the piece of coral on a stamp. I must have removed it. So let me get that out of here. And then I always test this one too to make sure I have it the right way. I'm just going to put that in the corner here to add some pop of color. And then on the front, in Night of Navy, I'm going to put My Love for You is Bigger Than the Ocean. And just put that down here in the corner. I need to get my head in here so I can see. Okay. Now I'm going to glue this one down. This is actually a very simple card to make, and I like that the matchbook is that interactive. It gives it sort of a fun fold, I guess. All right, I'm gonna lightly glue this shut. I'm just gonna keep the away from the edge so that I can stick that under there a little. And then I pulled out some old, again, retired ribbon. Use up what you have in your stash. And I had that piece of ribbon here. Wonder what I did with it. I thought it was in my card. Let me grab it again. This ribbon, again, is retired, and it was like the Granny Apple Green on one side and the Coastal Cabana on the other. And I just wanted to wrap that around the bottom here to just add another little pop of color. And so I'm just going to take my Stampin' Seal, put some on the edge here. That'll temporarily hold my ribbon in place. There we go. Now, mine's on there tight enough. I don't think I need a glue dot in the middle, but you could do that. I'm just going to put some glue on the back here. Get it on that ribbon. And then we're going to pop it down in the middle of this card base. So hope I get it straight. Go. Now, I guess I got a little bit of glue there. We'll just fold this around the other way. Okay, so now for our well, we're going to do this in Night of Navy. I love that this is like a distinct stamp. It gives you all that texture. All right, so just gonna stamp it on there, and I'm just gonna hold it down there to let it absorb that navy ink into the paper. There we go. How cool that is. Looks like I may have had something on my stamp, but I think that gives him, looks like a barnacle. We're just gonna leave it. All right, so now we're gonna punch him out. Oh, here we go. I'm not using all the other little pieces with him today. we're just going to pop him up on this card. Go. Seems I have some little dimensionals, and those will work. I think this is a fun set. And then I have some of the frosted droplets. Again, these are retired, but these new effervescent elements would work just as well if you have those. You know, the thing is use what you have. If you have something that will work, use that. So I'm just going to put a couple of these on here. Seems I'm out of the little ones, so we're going to do all big bubbles. My Picket tool is giving me grief today. There we go. So that's card number 1. And you have that matchbook. That'll slide in there for when you mail it. My love for you is bigger than the ocean. You are kind of a big deal. There we go. That's card number 1. All right, so now let me move some of these stamps out of here that we don't need to use. And our next card is a little bit different. We're using the turtle out of the set. And this one says, hoping all your birthday fishes come true. So for this one, it's a little more work. We're going to make our own paper, designer paper for this one. And we are using, oh my goodness, here we go. These are in the annual catalog, Artistic Mix Decorative Masks. These allow you to do layering. And so for this one, for the background, I am using Granny Apple Green and Parakeet Party. I think they blend well together, and one gives you that darker. So the first mask I'm using has this sort of floral design on it. I'm like, okay, that looks like a turtleback, right? So that's my theory, and that's what I'm going with. So I'm gonna just pick up some Granny Apple Green and then just start blending that in here. I just have this taped down to a smooth board. We just hope it doesn't move. And I did mine, I did different pressure in different areas, so you got that sort of variegated look. Now, if you wanted it to all match, you could do that. You know, you do you and make it the way you like. I offer suggestions that I hope you like, and then take it and make it your own. Okay. So that is our Granny Apple Green. Let me move this off to the side here. And then I'm going to take up this first stencil. Now, for stencils, you can take a wet rag, a baby wipe. You could take them to the sink and wash them. So I just sort of wipe them off. Now I'm going to take this one and I'm going to lay it over top, and I can see where to center those within this design, and then I'll tape this one down. I think we're good here. My tape's getting a little worn out. Let me grab it. Oh, went a little crooked there on me. Let me try again. Push something out of whack. I want to make sure that these are in the center as well as the ones at the top. Okay. Now I am going to trim this piece down, so if the tape covers a little tiny bit of the edge, I'm not too concerned. I'm going to take about 1/8 of an inch off of every side after I... All right, so now I'm going to come in with the Parakeet Hardy, clean my brush off because these brushes don't contaminate inks. All right, and now I'm going to make this a light. And each time you do one of these stencils, it's going to look a little different. Let's see what we got here. There we go. Now, that one's a little lighter with this one than this one, but I'm okay with that. All right, let me put these away. And then I am going to trim this one down. Let me bring in my trimmer. I like to always cut these larger, and then once I'm done with them, I want this to be 5 1/4. So I'm going to trim 1/8 of an inch off of each side, long ways. And then I want the other one to be 4, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do 4 1/8. And then 4. There we go. Now I'm going to bring in the rest of my kit. I have a piece of garden green that is cut 5 3/8 by 4 1/8 so that I'll get that small dark green border. And then I went ahead and I cut a 1-inch strip. And I'm going to adhere this first because I did cut it a little longer so I can trim it once it's on. And my sentiment that I put on here, I did it with Versamark, and then I heat emboss that in the white embossing powder. That way you didn't have to hear my heat gun running. A pair of scissors, and I'll trim this off. Oh, I got that a little crooked. Okay, now I'm going to adhere this down to that first layer. I thought with the turtle, all these greens went very well together. And then I'm going to put this on a card base of Whisper White Thick, and that is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 scored at 4 1/4. Have you used this set? What do you think of it? All right, so there we have that nice border of white. So now I'm going to take, I did the next to the largest circle out of the Stally Shapes. And I don't know exactly what size this is. Let's see, it's about a 2 1/2 inch circle. So now I'm going to stamp this one. And we're going to do it just the way we did the other one. I'm going to come in with the Granny Apple Green first. And I'm going to use the small seagrass. And you know what? Let me do my turtle first. I'm going to do the turtle in garden green to match the other green that I pulled in from the cardstock. Got that in there a little too much. Let's see. I'm just going to put him right here. Again, he's that distinctive stamp. So he has some really cool texture. And now we'll put the seagrass underneath. And we'll just go along here. He's swimming along the bottom of the ocean. I'm also an avid reader, And I have lately been reading some books. Somebody recommended, I think her name is Mary Alice Monroe, and she did a beach house series, and they're all about loggerhead turtles. And so I just finished one of those books and said, I need a turtle card. All right, so we have our turtle, we have our grass. I'm also going to come back in now with the Parakeet Party, that lighter green, and I'm going to place some bubbles. You could stamp these off first if you wanted to. I'm just going to put some bubbles around there. So this is my loggerhead turtle. All right, and then I wanted to put, since my sentiment says, hoping all your birthday fishes come true, I pulled out this little school of fish, and I said, you know, I wanted them to pop a little. So I pulled in Starry Sky and put those up above my turtle here, going across the top. And so there's our stamped image on that stitch circle, and I'm going to use some dimensionals to pop this up, but let me grab big dimensionals. Here we go. Another one that is coming to the end. There we go. Take its backs off. Little bucket. I don't know about you, but I usually find the backs of these all over my floor. Luckily, they don't clog the vacuum. There we go. All right. So then I'm going to just push this down right about there. And then I'm just going to bring in some basic pearls, and we'll put a couple of these on here. There we go. And we'll get one more up here in the corner. There we go. So we accomplished 2 cards today. One we made our own designer series paper with. Let me move these all out of the way so I can bring these back in. And then we had sort of a fun fold with that matchbook front. So I hope you enjoyed these. Remember, there will be a link to the coordinating blog that goes to bethannstamps.com. You'll see more information on these cards, and all the dimensions will be there for you, as well as all the supplies that I used. And as always, I truly appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch my videos. And I would be grateful if you would hit that thumbs up and hit the subscribe button so you get notified as more go live. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.